Okay, this week's all about forecasting the weather. So we're putting everything together basically that you've learned. So let's look at a forecast for the area for the next couple days. So we have this is the current observations. If you're going to make a forecast, you need to know what's going on, right? So we look at everything we can to find current conditions, what's going on right now. So if I looked at this surface weather map, you notice there's no fronts drawn on it. All you have are winds, temperature, dew point, pressure. So basically a simple surface weather map. One of the things I noticed was look at along right here, central Ohio. Northern Ohio, northeast winds, northerly winds, and they seem to be going, to the northwest here. Columbus is trying to almost like the shift, but then you see a lot of southwest and even southerly winds here. Temperatures 53 up by the lake, 54. Dew points 46, 42, 39. Oh, yeah, let's go down here. Dew points in the 50s and temperatures in the 70s. Uh, there's some kind of front right there, folks. Probably a cold front looking at it, moving southward slowly but surely. Connects into a low, looks like out in here somewhere, which would be Indiana, Illinois area. So, with that, we also take that front, and there's another front coming down the east coast of the United States here, which unfortunately is going to mess up my weather tomorrow. Right now, we're almost in the 80s here, and we probably will be in the mid 80s today. And then tomorrow, a high of about 70. And the only reason is this cold front that's up here gets south of us, and the winds blow off the ocean. So you can see that we've got a little bit of an idea of what's happening. We have a front kind of laying across the area, kind of wiggly. So if you're on one side of it, you're colder. If you're on the other side of it, you're warmer and more humid. If we were to look at that in terms of ghosts, satellite picture, we really don't see much, do you? Pretty few clouds in West Virginia along the mountain range. But other than that, not much. So there's not a lot of moisture here. There appears to be a line right in here, which lines up with the one part of the front. Uh, and then what I noticed here was look at these lower clouds that are moving to the northwest almost, or south from here. There's a lot of moisture down here across to Oklahoma and Texas coming in from the Gulf. So with time, this front is going to get more active. I also want to know what's going on with the jet stream. So let's take a look at it. Oh, we have a nice jet up north here across Canada. And then we have this really significant upper trough over the far west. That's Notice how the one jet stream is pretty far to the north. It's kind of sitting here cut off. It's not really attached to anything real well. It's going to move, but much slower than things are that are wiggling up here to the north. There's a 120 knot jet up here moving along, but this is going to be slowly working its way east. So with that, we could write a forecast or whatever saying, oh, we're going to have this front that's, maybe as this little bit of energy goes by, pushes it southward here across part of the area. As this approaches, all this moisture and all that's down here is going to begin working its way north and maybe impact our area later midweek or so. We can get an 850 millibar map. You can see all that southerly flow right there. Lots of moisture. And interestingly, there's a pretty good low up here off the Hudson Bay area, kind of pushing through. And there's, for this time of year, that's some pretty cold air. It's about -6, -8 Celsius up here. Fairly warm down in this area coming up now. So how is this going to evolve? Well, the Weather Service has a part of Environmental Predictions Center that Weather Prediction Center, this is called. It is part of a bigger umbrella, NCEP, National Center for Environmental Prediction. Uh, and they literally do a daily forecast composite map. It shows you the fronts. Hey, there's that front we've been talking about. Little area of thunderstorms with one section of that front later today coming across my area. But it's pretty dry, and we saw that. The next day, it's moved a little bit further to the east, so that trough is coming your way. And you'll notice that the one front dips south along the east coast, but along the here, it's pretty much stationary. Now, by the next day, that front's moved back north of everybody as a warm front. And here comes those showers and thunderstorms, even severe weather potential in 3 days on Wednesday. So you can see the evolution here this week. And if I were to look at it from a numerical model perspective, yes, this is a numerical model, and it is the Global Forecast Systems model. So this is a global model, a little less resolution, still pretty good. And I wanted to show you a big picture with it today. So I will display this. It's only 4 days. I want you to watch it evolve with time. Notice this moving east with time. This is not moving hardly at all. So this has got to come in here, going to tighten up, and things are going to either have to, this is going to have to shift out of here with a new trough developing out here, or we're going to have to wait and see. But it seems like a new trough is developing out here and tightening up. It's getting a pretty broad trough, a lot of the eastern, much of the United States here. And this has moved offshore now. So what you're winding up with, big low pressure actually, by this time, over the central part of the U.S. Southern Canada there. That brings a lot of potential for much colder air for this time of year to come in. And finally, let's look at a surface map, a little high resolution. This is a high resolution chart. It's a different model. It's called the North American Mesoscale model. You can see the 850 millibars temperatures, but a surface map. Here's that front. We've been talking about kind of little low, kind of develops and then slips south of my area and off the coast. That pulls the front south, but you can see here, we were talking about all that moisture. Look at the precip coming out and a 994 millibar low, lots of wind coming up here. But look on the other side. Here comes the cold air, much colder coming in. So by 48 hours out, the 72 hours, we begin to have a pretty significant cold front in the northern Midwest. Between then, we have a lot of moisture coming up. And as this front slowly working its way east, there's going to be a lot of showers and thunderstorms along it. And you'll notice the wavy front that's across us sinks south. We get a little cooler for one day, then it moves back north, and we get warm again until the main front from the west comes in. So this is really an overall look at how weather forecasting is put together. Yes, these are not gospel. I could show you a whole other set of models that may give you something totally different. Every forecast numerically is an approximation because no mathematician can solve these equations at this moment in time. So with that, as you can see, we've just made a forecast for your area. We're going to get you fairly warm sometimes, and you're going to be cooler. And eventually it's going to cool off the latter part of the week. And there'll be some precip, maybe even some severe weather by Wednesday coming into your area. So hope you get a little bit out of this and think about how you can put this all together from what you've learned. And please don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions.